Hooligans and boot boys! Not sure why I said that. Good morning, Codger Biker here. Just an update on Ludwig's leak. Yeah, so I've had quite a lot of interest in the recent coolant leak on this 790 Adventure, aka Ludwig. And thinking back on it, I think he's probably been leaking for a little while, because I do remember quite a few times where I'd start the bike in the morning and there'd be a brief cloud of steam. I'm guessing that was probably coolant on the headers. But it was only during a recent visit to the East Coast, when I parked him on a concrete garage floor each night, that I noticed a pool of coolant beneath him, which was quite alarming, because I was only a few hundred miles into a 700-mile journey. So I bought some coolant just in case, and carried on my way. I have to say, there was never at any point any sign of overheating. I don't know if you could see, but there was 4 bars on there, and there always were 4 bars. But I learnt quite a lot thanks to Chris in Stockholm and various other people. I've now discovered how to remove the plastic covers on the bike, which are actually very nice, easy to remove, and that sort of nice 70s Honda type plastic, which never feels like it's going to crack. So I found my way into the radiator proper. The coolant expansion tank seems to be a bit of a odd thing, in that it doesn't necessarily reflect what's going on in the radiator. 2 people told me that, and eventually I did look in the radiator, and the radiator took over 200 millilitres of liquid, and this was long after I'd topped up the expansion tank. So as both people said to me, you have to top the radiator up separately, and to do that you need to know where it is. I could assure it's very easy to get to. I think there's about 4 screws, the battery cover holder, a pop out, and a slider that hold it all in. And there is a video on YouTube, something like how to remove the 790 plastics in 10 minutes. It's well worth looking at. If you get stuck, I'll post a link on here. It's easy to find. So anyway, there seems to be 3 possibilities to this leak, from what I can gather, and based upon the experience of Duke owners as well with the same engine. One is it could be a faulty thermostat. I've only heard of that in 1 case, although it's possibly more than 1 case, just because I haven't heard of it. 2, a faulty thermostat housing, presumably that leaks. And 3, what I'm hoping mine was, a loose hose clip, which is basically just an old-fashioned Jubilee clip. Now, why it's loose, it is a good question. Has it been loose since I bought the bike? Anyway, where was I? I had to stop somebody I know to speak to them. So yeah, 3 possibilities. Faulty thermostat. Not quite sure how that would cause a leak unless it was closed permanently, in which case still don't see how it would cause a leak. Anyway, housing could be cracked. I don't know what it's made out of. Be interesting to know whether it's plastic or an alloy or whatever. And then the other one is the what I'm hoping mine was, which is a loose hose clip, which a bit pathetic really. Now obviously if it can work itself loose and I've tightened it up, it could probably work itself loose again, so it could be a faulty clip, I suppose. Those things do break if you over tighten them. Anyhow, proceeding on the basis that 90% of these problems seem to be a faulty clip. I devised a keyhole surgery way of tightening it. I've since learned that if you remove the bash plate, there might be an easier way of tightening it, or slightly easier anyway. But using my technique, I gradually got better at doing it. I decided to tighten it a little bit at a time. So the first day I tightened it about half a turn. Difficult to tell exactly because it's hard to see, but approximately half a turn. And I noticed when I ride the bike there's no leakage no matter what. My guess is that there's a couple of things possibly going on there, which is that the thermostat opens and there's no pressure, so the water just goes through, or somebody else suggested the housing expands a little bit with the heat and seals it, which might be more likely. I might explain why gradually it's become more leaky as it's expanded and closed several hundred times and created a little bit of a gap. As I don't know what the material's made out of, I was worried about over tightening it, so I've just done it a tiny bit at a time. So the first day half a turn, which more or less stopped it, but there was still a little bit of weepage. I'll try and put a photograph of that up. So gradually each day I've taken it another sort of quarter of a turn, as far as I dare, and overnight, last night, with the final quarter turn, probably about a full turn in all, there was no leakage and no weepage. Completely and totally dry. Now you have to check this thing after the bike's been stood overnight. There's no point in checking it in the daytime because it either evaporates, or if you're running the bike it's just not going to show up. It's not the kind of leak where you've got a blown hose and water sprays out under pressure. It seems to be the opposite. It seems to be a weeping underneath the clamp when there is no pressure and when it's cold. That's just for information for anybody who's not come across it. If you ride a Duke or a 790 Adventure or R, it's possible you will come across it. And if I've been lucky, really it's been simply a matter of tightening that hose, which in the grand scheme of things is well, nothing at all really, isn't it? Interestingly, I did what do they call it in America? I did reach out to a local race tuning specialist who I'll link to the KTM website, but unfortunately as they're not a dealership, they're not allowed to do anything under warranty, and you have to take it to a dealer. So they've pretty much got that warranty side of things sewn up, and I'm guessing that's because of the computer stuff on this bike and who KTM released the firmware to. So annoying. Well, they have assured me I can get my bike serviced and retain warranty so long as they adhere to KTM parts and procedures, which they've assured me they'll do. So same as a car really. It's interesting the response you get when a minor difficulty like this comes along. You get people outraged on your behalf, apparently. You get the people who obviously hate KTM and just want to slag the bike off and sort of leap onto the, for want of a better word, hater bandwagon, and see it as justification for their hatred of KTM. Personally, I've got no affiliation with any company of any kind. I bought this bike because it met my criteria, which were weight handling, tick, power, tick, seat height, tick, off-road capability, tick. If you want off-road capability, I'd suggest KTM are your go-to people. So I've got no affiliation, but then neither will I just slag the bike off for the sake of it, because I love it so much. It makes me so happy, which I've been over. So what I tried to do with this channel, it's basically a one bike channel with the occasional foray into other areas. It's just be honest with what's happening. There's a lot of people a couple of months behind me with this bike who are likely to come across the same thing, so I hope it helps them a little bit. So I'm being totally honest. I love the bike. I've got no beef with KTM or any other company. I love Hondas. I love Kawasaki's. All bikes are good to me. But what suits me is this KTM 790 Adventure S. It's perfect for me. There is no other bike out there that can do for me what this bike can do, so I intend to keep it. As long as I've got it, I'll keep vlogging on it. And do keep the comments coming, because I do find them interesting, positive or negative, it doesn't matter, it's all just discussion. There's too much in this world now of people seeking out channels that vindicate their own opinions and just affirm what they already believe. I think it's important to look at the other side. I mean, particularly social media, that's a political thing that I'm getting onto. I try to listen to all sides, so if you hate KTM, that's fine. I'll still respond to your comments. So that's it. Anyway, I'm off to ride Ludwig around a bit. We need to go a bit faster. I'm now putting through his paces today for a couple of hours and then see tomorrow whether there's any leakage. If there is, I'll report back. Hopefully I won't be reporting back on that again. So good morning to you people. Codger Biker is out. Oh look, a cannon. Nice cannon. Wish I had a cannon. Oh look, 1,900 miles already, and Ludwig has not yet exploded.